There's a rare kind of genius that doesn't shout, doesn't demand to be seen, but rather chooses invisibility as its power. Schopenhauer understood this deeply. He wasn't fascinated by just raw intelligence, but by the application of it. Not in bright displays, but in dark corners. He believed in intelligence that could disguise itself, that could fold itself down like a knife, not out of fear, but out of foresight. And perhaps one of the most unsettling yet liberating truths he uncovered was this: sometimes the wisest thing you can do is pretend to be stupid. In a world where everyone is trying to be seen, heard, validated, where every room is filled with people proving how clever they are, what kind of person would deliberately mask their intelligence? Who would willingly let others think less of them? Only someone who understands the quiet danger of being too obviously smart. Schopenhauer saw through the vanity of society, the subtle ego games, the fragile pride that governs social interaction, and he realized the moment people sense you're smarter than they are, they stop listening, they start defending, and they become your enemy without ever knowing why. Pretending to be stupid is not about actually being stupid. It's not about self-betrayal. It's about playing the long game. It's about protection camouflage in a jungle where showing your colors too brightly gets you eaten. There's a power in restraint, a force in silence. When you pretend to be less than you are, you're not surrendering your power, you're containing it. You're choosing not to waste your insight on ears that aren't ready to hear. You're choosing not to provoke egos that have too much to prove. You're creating space for people to reveal themselves while you remain unreadable, untouched, and ultimately in control. Think of a meeting at work, a room full of people throwing ideas, asserting dominance, interrupting one another. The one who says the least, the one who observes without competing, becomes the most powerful person in the room. Why? Because they're not broadcasting insecurity, they're watching, learning, calculating. While others fight for attention, the quiet one gathers advantage. And when they speak, everyone listens because their silence wasn't emptiness. It was intention. Schopenhauer would say that is real strength. Most people assume intelligence is always a good thing, that more is better, that being obviously smart gives you an edge, but raw intelligence without social intelligence is often a liability. People who wear their intellect like a crown don't realize they're making targets of themselves. Insecure minds see brilliance as a threat, and those threatened minds don't respond with admiration. They respond with sabotage, gossip, exclusion. Schopenhauer's warning was clear. Never flaunt your superiority. Never feed someone's sense of inferiority. If you want peace or even better leverage, let them think you don't know what you know. It's a paradox. The more you know, the less you should reveal. Because true intelligence isn't just about knowing facts, it's about knowing people, their motives, their weaknesses, their need to feel important. And when you pretend to be stupid, you offer them that gift. You let them talk, you let them feel superior. And in that inflated sense of confidence they open up, they show their hand. Meanwhile, you're still holding yours. Quiet, observant. Powerful Schopenhauer saw this principle as a form of psychological aikido. You don't confront strength with strength, you redirect it. You don't win battles by shouting louder. You win by watching silently until the enemy defeats themselves. In relationships and careers and debates, those who rush to prove they're right often lose the deeper game. But those who let others underestimate them, they win in ways no one sees coming. Consider the underestimated individual, the one no one takes seriously. While others overplay their hand, this person watches the whole table. They take notes, they map the patterns, they learn who's insecure, who's desperate, who's bluffing, and when it's their time they move precisely surgically, because they've waited, because they've listened, because no one saw them coming. Schopenhauer was not advocating dishonesty. He wasn't suggesting you should live your life pretending to be less. He was urging discernment. Discernment about when to speak, how much to reveal, who deserves your full light and who only deserves the reflection. This isn't manipulation. It's protection. It's wisdom. It's survival in a world that doesn't reward authenticity without a cost. Most people live loudly. They post everything, say everything, prove everything. But the most dangerous minds in history, the ones who changed the world, moved silently. They weren't broadcasting their plans. They were building quietly, planning precisely, executing suddenly. And when the world finally saw what they were capable of, it was already too late to stop them. Pretending to be stupid is not a weakness. It's a strategy. It gives you access to spaces, to information, to people who would otherwise close their doors out of fear. It makes you unthreatening, and in a world driven by ego, that is a superpower, because people trust who they don't feel threatened by. They talk more, reveal more. You become invisible and yet omnipresent. You know everything and they think you know nothing. That's not stupidity, that's power. There's another layer to this that Schopenhauer would argue: the freedom that comes from not needing to be seen. The ego always wants recognition, praise, applause. But the soul just wants truth, peace, presence. When you stop needing to prove yourself, you free yourself from the exhausting theater of performance. You move through life with quiet confidence. And that kind of presence, the kind that doesn't seek validation, is magnetic. People are drawn to it. They don't know why, but they feel it. It's the energy of someone who knows they're capable but doesn't need to convince anyone else. This doesn't mean hiding your light forever. It means becoming wise about how you shine. There are moments to roar and moments to whisper. Knowing the difference is what separates the loud from the legendary. Intelligence alone won't make you powerful. Strategy, timing, and restraint will. That's the deeper lesson behind Schopenhauer's advice. Because in the end, power isn't always about being in the spotlight. Sometimes it's about pulling the strings in the shadows. Let others perform. Let them exhaust themselves, trying to be seen. You move differently, quietly, intentionally. And when the time is right, you don't just appear, you arrive. So next time you feel the urge to correct someone in public, don't. Next time someone underestimates you, let them. Next time someone mistakes your silence for ignorance, smile, because you know something they don't. You're not playing the short game. You're not reacting to every ego. You're practicing the ancient art of patience, of presence, of power in disguise. There's immense peace in this, the peace of no longer needing to be understood, the peace of being underestimated, the peace of knowing that your value doesn't come from display but from discipline. And when others waste energy trying to be impressive, you conserve yours. You save it for moments that actually matter. And when those moments come, when the mask of simplicity falls and your true depth reveals itself, the world won't know what hit it, because the most powerful move is the one no one saw coming. So if you've ever felt like the smartest person in the room, but chose silence over showing off, if you've ever known the answer, but let someone else claim the credit, if you've ever walked away, instead of proving yourself to people who were too busy protecting their egos to hear the truth, then you already understand the quiet power Schopenhauer was speaking of. You're not weak, you're not passive, you're strategic. You're dangerous in the most elegant way. In a world where everyone is screaming to be seen, you've chosen subtlety. In an age of performance, you've chosen presence. That's rare, that's strength. And it's time we started seeing it that way, because not all power looks like dominance. Sometimes real power looks like stillness, like observation, like someone who knows exactly who they are and doesn't need the world to clap for it. If this resonated with you, if this stirred something inside you, something ancient, something deeply human, then you're one of us. You see the world through a lens most people never even realize exists. And here on this channel, we're not chasing popularity. We're chasing truth, depth, wisdom that doesn't just entertain, it transforms. So if you're ready to keep pulling on the threads of ancient thought, psychology, strategy, and the uncomfortable truth society often ignores, then you're in the right place. Subscribe not because it's the polite thing to say, but because you deserve to be part of something deeper, something quieter, something powerful. Hit that bell. Not for the noise, but for the signal. For the moment you're ready to listen. Observe and understand yourself and the world in ways most people never will. And remember this: the most terrifying person in any room is the one who says the least, watches the most, and never needs to prove a thing. Your silence is not your weakness, it's your sword. Use it well. Stay unseen, stay sharp, and stay with us.